And we are live. Welcome, everyone, to episode 4 of the Ludicrous Report, better known as TLR. Another great Tuesday here. And with me today, as always, the Diva Incarnate. She is Issa. How are you? And
I'm doing
happy
good.
Tuesday.
Excited. Happy Tuesday to you as well. How are you?
I am good. I'm coming off a long night at Monday Night Raw last night. And I'm a
Yeah,
little tired today, but we're getting through it. And now it's that time of day where we get to talk about our guilty pleasures.
I
Celebrity
am
news,
ready for
celebrity
it.
stuff
Pop
like
culture is
pop
my thing.
culture.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's so many things I want to talk about. And the first one I want to start off with is kind of a big one. And I think that it's a good conversation, a good topic to discuss. And that is Kanye West. Period. No, I'm kidding. Kanye West coming out and just saying all these crazy things. And the latest thing he did was he attacked Lizzo and her weight. Um, what do you think about, first off, Kanye going off on these rants, but attacking someone for their weight? Uh, what is going on with this dude?
I don't know. I don't know the rants, the Instagram posts. I wake up and for some reason he's always on top of my Instagram feed. I'm like, what did he do now? Posting text messages and this and that. I was just watching a YouTube video yesterday also about a very known comedian that went after Lizzo because of her weight. And I'm like, listen, I feel like what does that have to do with anything? Like, why are we coming for her weight? Like, I thought we were past those body shaming days, and we're supposed to be body positivity. And even if you are the kind of person that feels like, oh, people should live a healthier lifestyle, that's the person's choice, right?
Exactly.
Like I always say, if you're eating junk food, you know what's gonna happen to you. We're all adults. If you're smoking cigarettes, you know what's gonna happen to you. So I feel like that's also the person's choice of how they live. And I actually even I know I'm gonna sound crazy right now, but a lot of times Kanye goes on some rants that I'm like, I don't even know what he's talking about. I enjoy his music. I don't even know if I can call myself a fan anymore. I enjoy his music. I've
Yeah.
been to a couple of his concerts, and I think performance wise, if you ever seen his concerts live, he is up there. That's when I used to call him a genius. It was like the way he's putting these concerts. It was like I think I went to see the Jesus concert in 4 different venues. Like that's how much I enjoyed that experience. But Kanye, the person, it's like I don't know. He goes on some rants, and sometimes I'm like, okay, he's got a valid point there. Like I remember he was going on those Nike rants. Remember when he walked away from
Yeah.
Nike to go to Adidas, and I was like, okay, he's
Now it's
making
with
sense
Adidas.
here. Yeah, now he's doing it with Adidas. Adidas should have known better, right? But the Lizzo one, I feel like that's low, even for him.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, why are we doing this? Like it feels like the comedian. I wish I could remember the name of who I'm telling you about, but he was asked in this show, like, did he enjoy Lizzo's music? And he started talking about her weight. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you were never asked about this. Like I feel like everybody comes at her because of that. And I feel like even if you're of the belief that people should live a healthier lifestyle, people
Yeah.
also make those choices and have to live with those choices for themselves. I think Lizzo is doing a lot for people that are that are body positive, that want to
Yeah.
embrace that. Some people gain weight or lose weight due to health issues, situations that they can't even help. You know what I mean? So it's just like let people live their own lives. I don't care what anybody else does. I care about my choices and what I
Exactly.
what I control. I don't care
Yeah.
what you do or Lizzo does.
That's how it should be. I feel like, and I don't think that Kanye's been the first one to come out, like you said, like to go and talk about, specifically Lizzo and her weight. Like,
It's
I've
always
seen,
her.
it's always
It's
her, and I
always
think
her.
because she is in the spotlight a lot of the time because she's a big superstar right now. Like she's very
Hmm.
mainstream and very very like top pop culture right now. She talks about a lot, and I've seen a few documentaries on her, and I've seen she has like a show that talks about that. She is very body positive, and she tries to
Yep.
like influence people and let them know that whatever shape and size that they are, that's okay. And then people come at her and say, well, you're influencing people to have an unhealthy lifestyle, or you're you're spreading the wrong message. And like, who are you to decide that for anybody?
One of the very first people I remember this controversy that came for her was Jillian Michaels. You remember her? She was
Yeah.
the trainer for The Biggest Loser.
Yep.
I remember she had like a lot of controversy talking about how she was gonna get diabetes and heart disease and this and that. And I get it, right? You're a personal trainer, which come on, the Biggest Loser was also known for very, very weird ways that they made these people lose weight. None of them could lose the weight. I don't know if you ever gone back and look at where these people ended up. Like the
What was the
majority
name of
of
the
the
show?
winners. Yeah, no, the majority of the winners gain all of their weight back because the measurements that they were taken to get these people to lose their weight was impossible to keep up with in the real world. You know, nobody has 12 hours a day to work out and somebody counting calories for you, and so regardless, she came for her. And I remember that being the first time that happened, but now it just seems to be like every week is somebody different. And I'm just like, I just feel like I thought that sometimes I read some of these news and I'm like, I thought we were past that, the body shaming, whether it's somebody that's bigger on the bigger side or on the smaller side too, because I see a lot of that's on TikTok. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
A lot of TikTok people also that are body positive, but also body shame people that are on the smaller side. And I'm like, no, it needs to work the same way for everybody. Be whatever shape, like you said, that Lizzo says, be whatever shape or size that you are and be happy with it.
Yeah, and I think the debate comes into play that like Kanye and all these other people that are going after Lizzo, it's one of two reasons. One, they're concerned people, they don't want to spread the wrong message in their eyes, or they're going for her because she is like the top of the top right now. She is everywhere. Her music is trending worldwide. She's number one. She's performing everywhere. She is a top choice for people's, music choices. So it's kind of like, do we go like to stay relevant? Do we go at the names at the top? Kind of like a Logan Paul type approach.
Yeah.
Like, is that what they're
Yeah.
doing, or is it they're generally concerned that she's spreading the wrong message and and it's like,
Do you think it could have something to do with the fact that the face of of the industry at the moment has never looked like Lizzo, and that's something that maybe people are intimidated or not used to? You know what I
it could
mean?
be part
Like
of
it's
that.
like you always so used to having a certain kind of person, right? I recently saw, and I wish I need to start writing down these things that I see that we discuss, because I watch a lot of pop culture news and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a rapper, a female rapper that got a lot of shame because people were like telling her that she needed to get plastic surgery to look like your Cardi B's or your Nicki Minaj, and she was like, I want to stay the way that I am, and people were shaming her for that. And it's just like, I personally wonder if it's just the fact that people are just looking different than what we're used to, and maybe that's intimidating, or maybe they just feel a certain kind of way about it. Lizzo is 34 years old and you're old enough to know your choices that you make for yourself, and if you're happy with that, I celebrate you, because why not? Like, I don't want
Yeah.
anybody to be coming for my lifestyle or for how many calories I consume or what I should look like. We lived in that kind of society for way too long. Like it just feels freeing to just not have to worry about that. But people are still, and we I mean, look at us. We cover wrestling on the side outside of this, and the
Exactly.
debate of what a wrestler is supposed to look like. And sometimes the wrestlers that we like don't look the standard to what Vince liked, right? For example, like I feel like this is something that goes on in every industry.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Lizzo is the top of the industry right now, and I just think that she's an easy target for a lot of people to go at. And plus, like everybody else, I think she goes to the doctor. I think she goes to get checkups. So, like, if she was unhealthy, I'm pretty sure she would make changes. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so like I don't even and the biggest thing is like whose business
Right.
is it?
The money that this woman should have right now, even if there's any kind of health concern, she can take care of it.
Exactly. I don't think she's like, oh, I'm not going to the doctor. Like I can't afford it, or I can't. I don't want to. Like, get out of here. Like, I'm sure she's well aware of everything going on in her body, and if there was changes to be made, she would most likely change them. I would assume, but
But coming from Kanye, who's was married to somebody who is part of a family that sets up such an impossible beauty
Yep.
standard for young people. Like maybe that's what he's used to, because like even with the plastic surgery and enhancements that, sorry about my dog, that
Roman.
the Kardashians get, a lot of their photos are dogged, their Photoshop is being proven. Like
Yep.
what these women are putting out there is nowhere near, like, it's unachievable
Yep.
unless you have a good photo editor and a good plastic surgeon. So it's like when you come from that kind of being surrounded by that, I would assume that
Yeah.
maybe you get in that mentality that there's only a certain
Yep.
thing that is accepted at this point.
And I think the same thing happens to like models who are like extremely skinny and people like, this it goes both ways, or people will shame people for being too skinny, you know.
Did you ever watch the documentary about what the Victoria's Secret models were putting? I think it's on Hulu.
On
The
Hulu I
Victoria's Secret
saw it.
models and what
Yeah, I
they
never
were
watched it.
doing before like the big Victoria's Secret fashion show, like how
Yep.
these women will starve themselves, like they will like survive on coffee and laxatives for like 2 weeks, even though on a normal day these women are more beautiful than anything you ever seen. They felt
60
like they
pound
weren't.
women, and they're like,
Right, they felt like they weren't good enough for
yeah,
that moment. And again, that's also as a woman, that you're very vulnerable. You're walking a runway in nothing but undies, like,
yeah,
right, like at least in certain fashion shows you have a full gown on or this and that. You're exposing your whole body, so I can see why they would want to look perfect.
yep,
But it was crazy what they were putting themselves through, and still putting themselves through, a lot of them. I feel happy that the standard in that is also changing. But it's
yep.
weird because I remember just worshiping the supermodels back in the 90s, like George Michael music video with all the supermodels. That's still one of my favorites to this day.
Oh my gosh, throwback. Well,
Yeah, but come on. Like, they were legends. Like, supermodels were almost as big as celebrities as actors and actresses were back then.
yeah, and today like the lines are so blurred because like you have people like the Kardashians who are technically like considered models, but also technically considered actresses. I guess like because of their show and like reality stars. So it's kind of like
Hmm.
the lines are so blurred between like like who is a supermodel today that you can like name right off the bat, just like the previous generations.
Adriana Lima, and the girls, what are their names? The Hadid girls, the sisters.
Yeah,
But
Bella
did
and
you ever watch the
Gigi.
reality show? Oh my god, where the mom is like, eat an almond, don't eat anything else.
Yep, insane.
And I'm like you're telling your daughter to eat an almond, and then like I think there was like an episode where the oldest one, Gigi, is like having a birthday celebration, and then the mom is like, as they're at their birthday dinner, the mom is like, right after this, you go back on your diet, right? And I'm like,
Oh my gosh, imagine.
yeah, but that's imagine, like, there's that pressure already, like, and I feel like I think you can understand. I'm sure there's a certain standard that some men feel like they need to live up with, but
Yeah,
it's a lot harder for females, and with what they put on social media. You have websites out there like Instagram Reality, and there's other pages trying to make sure that people
yep,
know that what the young generation is seeing out there is not there. But it's crazy the standards that we try to follow, and it's a lot harder for
yeah,
women. So to find somebody that's just happy just the way they are is very inspiring, and for that person to become a target
yep,
just makes you think, like, see, you can't walk around and be happy with who you are because everybody's going to judge you, and that sucks. Like, why can't somebody like Kanye come out and say that's awesome that she accepts herself just the way she is? Because,
exactly.
like I told you, even if she's making unhealthy choices, that's also her choice, her
Yeah.
personal choice, her personal life.
And speaking of the Kardashians and all these kind of topics that we're discussing here, kind of leads me into the next.
I feel like I'm gonna start a tally. We need to start a tally every week. There's gotta be a Kardashian news.
Oh man, we
We do cover pop culture.
yeah, and this next thing we're gonna bring up right now includes the Kardashians. Again,
Yep.
and it's titled "How Do Famous Kids Keep Up with Trends?" And it says, hold on, let me ask their stylists. So already I'm like, all right, this is going to be some great stuff. So let me read you the first couple lines of this article because this to me was mind boggling. So it says, like their famous parents, the Kardashian kids have lately been setting trends. Stormy Webster, the 4-year-old daughter of Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott, were praised by like all these sites for wearing stylish bags. She was wearing a $4,000 like Gucci bag
Goals.
at 4 years old. And it just talks about all these different celebrities who have stylists for their kids. And it's not necessarily like just like a regular topic. I kind of want to debate about it because I think it's like a topic to kind of go in depth about. Like, should these celebrity kids at such a young age have stylists? I mean, doesn't that affect their confidence? Doesn't that affect their minds in a sense where like things like, what if Stormy Webster likes the color blue and the stylist says, you know what, blue is not a good color to wear. You shouldn't wear blue. So now she knows in her head growing up, she can't wear blue. Like it's training these kids.
I feel very 50-50 about this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I had children and an endless amount of money, I will probably do it,
Yeah.
At the same time, with the Kardashians, there's an image that they like to keep up with. Like these women even think about what their Instagram feed looks like, right? Like everything that they do is a marketing plot, including what their kids look like when they go out. And now I don't know about Stormy, right? But when I think about like Kim's and Kanye's kids, Kanye being, whether people want to admit it or not, he's a big figure in the fashion industry. He has his own line of pretty much everything. So I would assume that because as far as we know, he was styling Kim. He was styling even his own wife when they were married. So I would assume that he would want some kind of standard for these kids. I think North is a fashion icon already. So is Blue Ivy, Beyonce and Jay-Z's daughter. She's a legend already, right? So I like the idea of kids having also younger, like more of trends. Not like I want a Gucci bag, but like something like what should I be dressing like at 8, at 9? You know what I mean? Because I'm very big on presentation. Yeah. So I'm probably one of those people that will probably do it if I could afford it. But at the same time, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a news report about 50 Cent and his son. Did you see that one?
I didn't.
So 50 Cent went on an interview and said that he doesn't love his son anymore. And they've been beefing back and forward. But 50 Cent's son said that the $6,700 that he receives every month is not enough. So it makes you wonder, if you put them to this, is that the standards that they're going to have when they grow up, that they don't have to do anything and your parents have to take care of you? And $6,700 a month is more than a lot of your average American makes. And this kid, and that's not all he gets. That's what he gets. His mom also saves a portion of it, right? And now you got this kid saying that it's not enough. So it just makes me wonder, if you treat them this way from such a young age, is that what you're raising? Or are you teaching them how blessed and what they have, how lucky they are, and teaching them to appreciate that? That's the difference. It's how you raise them. But I want my kids to be stylish. I don't leave the house without looking a certain kind of way. That's just me. So if I had kids, I'll probably be that way too, honestly.
No, if I was in their position, I probably would too. Not for everything, but I would. It's a sense of like teaching them, like, like if they're in specific industries, teaching them about the industry and that there is an image to uphold and different things like that. I wouldn't necessarily force them. Like I would kind of collab with the kids in a sense.
I was going to say, you can have a stylist that's listening to what the kid wants, what the kid likes, and kind of work from there instead of forcing a certain kind of. I also feel like they will be very criticized and judged if they go out there looking like $1 million and their kids are dressed in anything, because you're letting your kid dress themselves like most normal human beings do, because we think it's cute. But these celebrities get judged for everything that they do, right? So maybe at home you're letting these kids like pick out the random shirt with the random pants, right? But when you go out in public, I feel like these people are going to be judged no matter what, so they might as well make sure that image of perfection is out there.
No, I tend to agree like with that. Like it's I would, I don't know. I feel like I'm 50-50 with it, but if I was in that position, I would like have a stylist, for them. And even so, like, for example, if I have a kid and we're like in the position of the Kardashians and my kid has a stylist and we go out, maybe you get like great like publicity from that. Like, so I just talk, discussing like the bad publicity that can come with it too, like the good publicity that can come from it, where they can start getting brand deals or different jobs from that, having a stylist so young. So I guess there's different positive like positives and flaws with that, but it's kind of one of those debates to where it's kind of up in the air for me.
Yeah, it's I see it both ways.
Yeah. And for everybody listening and watching right now, in the chat, let us know what you would decide for your children if you were in the position of a Kardashian type character. And would you have a stylist for your kids? Would you prefer not to? Let us know in the chat.
I'll tell you what, I'll decide for my children to pick him up so he stops barking while I try to do a show.
Yeah. See, you don't even see it, but my I call them faminals, the animal family, sitting right next to me, just being very quiet right now.
Yeah, it's impossible. I don't think he's used to me doing this during the day. I think my Tuesday one still throws him off because I took him for a walk before I started getting ready, trying to tire him out so maybe he'll nap. You know what, we did this because at night, no, I'm lying, he does it at night too. He's
Look at his face though, he is adorable.
Right, how can you be mad at him? You can't.
Look at him, he's just like, mom, I know like you're working, but like play with me.
Yeah, literally.
Listen, he's the big dog. But you have to acknowledge him.
Yeah, I should have named him something different. He's begging for that acknowledgement. But yeah, I don't mind styling kids. I don't. I think, and now with the influencer culture, people can become an influencer, and these kids can start making money at any age. Like, to me, that's crazy too. How much times have changed, right? So why not?
Insane. It's completely insane. But what I do like about it is that the requirements are the requirements are gone. Like, you don't have to be a specific size or shape. And kind of going back to Lizzo stuff, like there is no requirement for really anything anymore. Like I go into Target and I see, I don't know why, I don't think the men have it, but I've seen it in the women's section where there's like a plus size section and they have mannequins that are plus size. And I'm like, that is so cool. Like to see that change in culture. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool to see. And it's just, there's no requirement.
Yeah, and just seeing it in movies, seeing it in TV shows, just like all kinds of different representations. And I don't know, a lot has changed, and I have a lot of appreciation for that. And yeah, I'm here for this. I think there's obviously a good side and a bad side to everything. You know, like you're watching. I can't even remember those TikTok girls, the super famous ones, the ones with the most followers. What are their names?
Charli D'Amelio.
Yes, the D'Amelios. Like I think they had like a show on Netflix or something, and their lives is so stressful for 16-year-olds. Like, it's insane to me what they go through, the content that they had to put out there to keep up with their image, and all because you started doing a couple of dances on TikTok, you know. So it's crazy too. But I think it's awesome that there's not a specific, like, you need to be, you know, 5'10", 100 pounds, and by 24 your career's dead because they consider you too old. Like that, that's out the window nowadays. Anybody can do it if you have the dedication and you work hard.
Yeah. And this next topic, it's also another debate, and I think it's one that you're gonna like too. Are celebrity skincare lines actually any good? And it kind of goes on to talk about how, you know, Hailey Bieber, Kim Kardashian, Gwyneth Paltrow, Travis Barker, they all have their own type of skin care
That's not
line or
all.
whatever you want to
I
call
can
it.
keep naming a bunch of them. J-Lo, there's so many of them. So
Yeah.
many of them.
And so many of them, like they go after different like target markets and because of their pricing. Like for example, Haley Bieber's is like between like $16 to $29, and then Kim Kardashian's is between 37 to like 100.
It's
So
not even
like
that good.
I've never personally tried any of those. I don't know. I don't look at the celebrities and like, wow, I want to buy all their products. I'm just not one of those people.
Same.
Like
Same.
what works for me, and like if it works, I'll use it. You know what I mean? But
Right.
just because it's a celebrity that I like doesn't mean I'm going to go buy their product. And I've seen this debate so many times because a lot of these products are the exact same thing, just
Yeah.
different different marketing and different prices. What do you
Yeah,
think?
don't even get me started with Kylie Skin, who put that scrub that like breaks your skin up.
Yeah,
Like there's so many. Like I see somebody like I'm gonna give you an example, like a Jennifer Lopez, right? Like she puts out this skin line, and it's just like, first of all, your entire career, you pretty much brag about the money that you have and all of these things. So do you really think that I'm going to believe that Jennifer Lopez, the way that she looks at her age, uses a $20 cream to take care of her skin?
yeah,
No. And as a female, I take skincare very seriously, especially once you hit a certain age. You really have to take care of yourself, otherwise
yeah,
you're gonna have to you're gonna have to botox your shit out of your face. But anyway, so the way that I see it is like, if you are a celebrity making a skincare line and you already have it up to the prices of what I'm paying for very good products, because that is something that, like I said, I don't budge on that. I will pay
yeah,
money if it works, right? And if it
yeah,
does what I do. It's like, why am I going to pay $50 for this Kim Kardashian cream that barely anybody has tried or anything, when I can go and get my Chanel, my Dior, my the kind of stuff that I really, really like?
yep,
So and there's too many of them coming out with it too, that at some point I feel like they're just sticking a name on a product that they don't
yep,
even use themselves. And that's the thing, right? When they come up with like clothing or makeup, that's different. You feel
yeah,
like they can, not even clothing, because a lot of these celebrities are wearing designer clothes, and you know it, right?
yeah,
But like makeup, Kylie with her makeup, I personally think that she uses some of it, not all of it,
yeah,
but I do think she uses some of it. But when it comes to skincare, I just feel like I just don't see these celebrities using
yeah.
a cheaper brand skincare. And then if you're gonna make it expensive, then you might as well stick with the brands that you know that have been doing this for decades. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm seeing like a spike now. Like I'm in a position now where I'm starting to take skincare more seriously because I'm starting to see
Mm-hmm.
differences. I'm like, oh, like
Yeah.
I'm about to hit 30 and I'm like, I'm seeing things I don't like, you know? So I've been looking like over the last little while, like into different skincare routines and changing what I'm doing. And it's really different than what it used to be because I'm seeing a lot more like artists, actors, like men in general taking
Oh, I love
skincare.
this new culture of men taking care of themselves. I'm here for
Exactly.
it every day.
And seeing
Mm-hmm.
like Travis Barker come out with a line or whoever else. I don't even know who else. The article here says Travis Barker, but like a lot of like known men are doing this as well. I think it's a great idea, but I mean, how do you tell like what is a good product? You know, like I wouldn't even
I
tell you.
actually I rely a lot on, I know this is gonna sound weird, but I rely a lot on YouTuber reviews.
Yeah,
I do. And
that's
not,
where I
not
look
your
first.
typical YouTubers. Yeah, I just like, for example, I recently, you bring this up, I recently watched this girl that I adore on YouTube, Hope Scope, and she bought the entire Kim Kardashian skincare line, and she tested
Yeah,
every product, and she just told you exactly what she thought. She told you, I think this is worth it, I think this is not worth it. There's a reason why a lot of these big makeup companies have this PR list, and you look at their PR list and it's a lot of YouTubers, because they do know that the common consumer wants to go and find somebody that I can trust
yep,
testing these products, and that's who I'm gonna go and watch, right? I
yep,
appreciate this girl. She reviews a lot of things, and I appreciate her because she buys it from her own money. She's not on anybody's PR list, so you're getting an unbiased opinion,
yep,
about things. But I really really do go when I'm trying something new. I'm a stickler with the products and makeup and skincare that I use, but when I want to try something new, you'll see me. I don't read because there's you can hire bots now to leave like positive reviews on everything that you
Exactly.
want. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So you'll see me on YouTube trying to find, or TikTok now if you don't want to go through a lengthy video, right?
Yep.
Because I feel like TikTok is like a 3 to 1 minute version of somebody doing a 15-minute sit down video. But as a YouTuber, I like supporting my fellow YouTubers myself too. So I go to your normal YouTube reviews to find out, what to think about it. And you hear a lot of them will tell you they're overpriced for what they're selling you. And then it's like if they make it cheaper enough to be like drugstore common, then nobody's gonna buy it either. So
Exactly.
I also feel like the celebrities are stuck in a weird position where it's like if you see it at a Walgreens next to the Wet and Wild, like you're not gonna buy that shit. You know what I mean?
100%. I have a good friend from Florida that I've kept in touch with. Her name is Nadia, and she was always into like skincare and different things like that. And she finally, over the last couple of years, started her own company. I'm going to shout her out. It's
Ah,
Feel Good Beauty. That's the Instagram handle, and she does phenomenal work. I mean, I see her get like
respect.
certification after certification. She's doing all this stuff. She is my go-to for like skincare. I tell her, all right, so the winter's coming up. My skin gets dry. What do I need? She's like, boom, this is the
Yeah.
best thing for you. This is a little expensive. This is not expensive. Like she doesn't tell me, like
But
she
there's
tells me
certain things that are
her
worth the
recommended product.
money.
Yes.
Right. There are certain things that are worth putting the money into, and there's certain things that I will tell you, like a daytime SPF moisturizer, go with this. But like your
Yep.
nighttime, the one that your skin's gonna, yeah. I shout out to your friend because that
Yeah.
the certifications and the dedication that it takes to become an expert in these kind of
Yeah.
things is crazy. And then the people that tell you they're experts, like I don't know if you ever saw the whole mess with Kylie Jenner, where she
Yeah.
posted a picture of herself and she was like, I'm in the lab testing new products, and the picture was just her with like looking all glammed up, and everybody went crazy in the comments because they were like, if you're a makeup lab, you're wearing a hairnet, you're wearing gloves, you're wearing like, there's no way you look like this. And she had to come out and say that was a stage photo, obviously, because everybody was like, what are you doing? Like that's not
Yeah.
what a skincare like lab looks like. So
Yeah.
it's just funny because that's the experts, and even the experts are putting an image out there that will make me go, well, I'm not buying your product.
Yep.
Did you ever see that YouTuber that sold the lipsticks that came with like hairs and stuff in it?
What the hell?
She was a very big Jacqueline
Uh,
Hill. She's a very big
oh, I
makeup.
remember
She
that
started
name.
as a makeup reviewer, and
Yeah.
then she came out with a line of lipsticks, and these lipsticks were like, look it up, you'll be entertained. They were a mess. People were like they had like hairs, they were cracked. They look like they've
What?
been sitting there for like a year, and then she just now sold them or something. Yeah,
I
and they were like
stopped.
$27 a lipstick.
What the hell? I wouldn't even know like if that's like expensive or if that's like cheap for I
And
would.
it's expensive.
Yeah. What's like the
Yeah.
average price for like lipstick, for example?
I pay, well, I only like to use a certain brand, so I paid about $12 per
Okay.
lipstick, and that's still expensive. Like if you go to like I said, drugstore lipstick, a lot of people are
Yeah.
not too picky because it kind of rubs off, so you have to keep retouching it, right?
Yeah.
So I have my I have my day lipsticks, and that's like $7, right? And then I have
Yeah.
special occasion going out kind of lipstick. That's when it gets into the tens and twenties. Yes.
Yeah.
But if I'm
I-
just sitting here making YouTube videos, I'm not gonna use my, like I said, I'm a big Dior skincare and makeup.
Yeah.
I love their makeup and skincare routine. So that is for like special occasion. But if I'm sitting here making a video, you see me use like CoverGirl, things like that, because no.
Yeah. I remember I've had like cousins and things like people like that, like who will like fiend over the Kylie Jenner stuff. Like, oh
Mm-mm.
my god, they just dropped. I have to go buy it right
I
now.
hated it.
And it's like overpriced. And I will never forget, like, I stopped listening to anything Kylie Jenner says. I don't know if it was on an episode of the Kardashians or what it was on, but she started filming and she's like, oh, I just woke up. And she was full glammed, full hair
Yeah.
and makeup. And she's like, I just woke up. This is me, like natural in the morning. I'm like, bullshit. Like, no
The,
way. Like, you got eyeliner on. You didn't wake up like that. Get out of here.
Actually, okay. Now the hair should have been the giveaway.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll put on a full face of makeup when I'm doing like my watch alongs or when I
Yeah.
do the podcast at night, and I'll fall asleep right after and forget to take it off. And the next morning, I wake up kind of glam, but you can still tell I just woke up. Like it doesn't look like it
Yeah.
did the night before, right?
No,
Like for
she
and don't
looked like
do not go to
she,
sleep with your makeup on, ladies that are listening to this. That's a big. Everybody knows that's a big no. My sister yells at me all the time because I do it a lot and it never really
yeah.
affects my skin, so she thinks I'm lucky. But do you ever see the one time that she tweeted out? Kylie Jenner tweeted out, "I just tried cereal with milk for the first time," and like
What?
everybody was like, "We seen you eat cereal with milk on the show." Like they're
Yeah.
so full of it, man.
I feel like she's like the one family member that just couldn't find her niche. So they like made it for her. Like, what do you like to do? She's like, I do my makeup and I like to just like walk around. And she's like, all right, you're gonna have $1 billion empire of makeup. We're gonna do it right now for you. All you have to do is just
I give
go to
her,
meeting.
yeah, I give her a little bit of props on
Oh,
that. You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like it's incredible. But think about it. This whole the lip kit started as also a lie because she was trying to tell you that her lips looked that way because she was using the lip kit, and then she had to come out and admit that she had gotten fillers. So it
Oh,
was like, no, there's no lip kit that's gonna make your lips look like you can make it look bigger but not
yeah.
plump like what her lips look like. You
Exactly.
know, I always like Kendall. I feel like Kendall stays away from the
She's
drama.
my favorite
She
one.
does her thing. Yeah, me too. And she looks again. I told you I used to because of the time I grew up, I idolized the '90s supermodel, and I really do think that Kendall looks like an old school supermodel.
100%. I think that's
Yes.
why I like her. Like, I think she's just very like she's like natural, authentic, but she's just like she's not like she's all glammed up and stuff like how they do it, but it's a different. She's like classic. If
Because
that makes
she's
sense.
remained, as far as I know, the more natural out of all of them.
Yeah.
Body wise, her body looks normal.
Yeah.
Not normal, but you know what I mean. Like there's
No,
not,
of course, not all these curves
no
and
crazy augmentations anywhere,
implants.
anything. She looks like your old school supermodel, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. She's my favorite. She's always been my favorite out of all the
Me too.
Kardashians. We have to do a show where it's like rating each Kardashian.
Oh my god, like a ranking?
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that. I would love
Yeah.
that. We might need to bring in a guest because we already know who both of us will pick as the number one.
Exactly.
We're both Team Kendall.
We might have to get Jimmy on here. Jimmy, I would love to hear Jimmy's takes on the Kardashians.
Oh my god, that would be hilarious. We gotta
Or
talk him
Sean.
into
Sean
it.
would be pretty good too.
Yes.
Oh man. Let me see
Ranking
this
I
next.
love that. And we
This
should do a
next
ranking
article.
social media platforms too.
Oh, listen, we have to write these down because there are
Yes.
ideas for days that we're gonna do them. So if you're watching right now, if you're in the chat, expect this.
Or if you're
stuff coming
watching later,
soon.
leave it in the comments too if you have any ideas too.
Exactly, because I mean, every week is like a new thing for us, and we're just kind of going with whatever we find. So let us know what you'd like to see next. But this next article, where the hell did it go? All right, this next article, I had them on my screen and they disappeared. This next one is actually kind of interesting because it's going to lead us into the next part of the show I want to get into. But Jamie Lee Curtis has a big movie coming out this week.
Yes, Halloween ends.
Halloween ends. I love horror movies, but I love
Me
those
too.
movies in particular. So on her media tour for this movie, she, I guess, spoke about the Freaky Friday movie that she did with Disney and Lindsay Lohan in like 2003.
A classic.
Classic. She says she's always wanted to do a sequel to it, and she's up for it. Now Lindsay Lohan has come out and said that she's also up for it and would love to do it. Now they have to get it approved by Disney, and for that to happen. So first off, would you want to see a sequel to Freaky Friday? And then the second question, a follow-up, is you kind of see what happens with sequels when they do them.
Yes.
Like, is it something that they should continue doing for these classic style movies?
All right. So maybe I would like to see a sequel. If the studios are okay with working with Lindsay Lohan now, I don't know what, I haven't followed up with her in a while.
She just did
honestly.
a Christmas movie on Netflix.
Did she?
Yeah, it came out like last week.
Good for her. Good for her. So I like we were just talking about Halloween ends, and I love horror movies, and I'm gonna sit there and watch Halloween, and I will continue to watch them as long as they make them. Same with Jason, same with Scream, but these movies have gone such downhill. Like Halloween has like 4 different routes that you can
Yeah.
take story wise because they've made so many of them. They're not sequels at this point; they're just a new version of the same story.
Yep.
Sometimes it can be done, rarely it can be done right, but I have a big issue with remakes. I feel like today's generation is not original enough and they just keep remaking our movies and they're just making them worse. So
Yep.
I would take a sequel over a remake because like I don't know what's going on and not shade, yeah, that is shade on today's generation, but their creativity is just not there and they're just remaking movies that there was nothing wrong with them. We didn't need to remake them. We didn't need to turn them from cartoon into live action. We didn't need to do any of that. So it's like, you know what? I'll take a shitty sequel over another freaking remake. I will
Yeah.
tell you that. How do you feel about that?
Well, first off, to your point of what you just said, and I know the exact reason why they keep doing this, why they keep making shitty sequel remakes.
Nostalgia.
If you that's a big part of it. But if you look at TikTok, right? TikTok is just people just remaking something that everybody else does. So
Yeah.
you do something, it goes viral. I remake what you did to also go viral, and then someone remakes what I did to go viral, and it's just a snowball effect. That's part of the secret sauce to TikTok, because I do a lot of research on TikTok to find that stuff out.
Yeah, but
And they
a
say,
lot
like,
of
don't be
times,
original. This is literally what people say. Like, don't make original content. Find what's
right.
trending and the top stuff and put your own spin on it. And I feel like that is
Yeah.
what today's generation does with everything, not just TikTok, but like it's movies, it's TV shows, it's just everything.
That's a
Clothing, I
good
mean,
point.
everything.
That's a really good point. Even the fashion, yeah, you're right. Like I can't even remember when it was, but it was a couple of years back. But I remember seeing the sneakers, and the sneaker community is gonna come for me, but not for not knowing the name. But I owned them in middle school. The Nikes that said Air on the side,
Yeah.
and then I remember seeing everybody wearing them now, and I'm like, wait a minute, like when did those come back in? Like
Yeah.
everything is. I will say though, like I'm a sucker for like if I find a sound that or a TikTok that I like clicking on the sound and just seeing the
Yeah.
different versions of it because everybody does put their own spin to it and it can be funny and then you're there for like 10 hours and you get no sleep. But yeah, I see your point. And you are absolutely right because everybody is doing everything for either the money, the profit, or the views. That's the kind of like that's what we live on now. And nobody's just
Yeah.
like saying, I'm gonna sit down and write something original.
That's what it is.
Like I just like it's ruined a lot of movies that I just really cherish and that drives me crazy. It's like a lot of times I don't go see them. I wait for people to tell me because it's like I don't
Exactly.
want something that I really, really loved to be like ruined for me. So,
Yeah.
I would I like to see the sequel? I don't know. I do maybe, but they're just so much older. It's gonna look so different.
Well, let me ask you, have you seen Hocus Pocus 2?
No,
Do you plan on seeing Hocus Pocus 2? Were you a fan of those
no,
movies? That movie?
no. I haven't seen the original in forever, but I've heard bad things about this one. No.
I heard more good than bad, but
Okay.
I I saw it when it came out, and my initial reaction was I could have done without it. Like I personally didn't need a sequel, because it
Right.
really wasn't a sequel. They didn't follow the story from the first one. They kind of just created a new story with the same characters from the first one.
Okay.
So nothing was the same besides the characters. It was a completely different story. And it was just the three witches in the book that were the same. Like all the little kids and the cat and all that stuff from the original were
Right.
not included.
Right.
It was a completely different. They modernized it. They put different spins on it, but it wasn't. I hate, and I might get crap for this. I hate the movies that they try to be fully politically correct for the
Hmm.
publicity of being politically correct.
Right. Right.
You know, like they try to check off all the boxes of everything of today's culture, and it just makes it
Yeah.
like you're trying too hard, and you ultimately change. You affect the nostalgia and the originality of the original story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They do that with a
Yeah.
lot
And
of
that's
things today.
another thing. That's another thing with the remakes and the sequels. Is like today's culture is so different that some of these movies that they're trying to remake or sequel that you have to change
Yeah,
a lot of things and you end up making, like you said, a complete different movie
yeah,
or show or whatever, and it's just like even as silly as it sounds, and I don't even want to get into that topic because that's a whole show, but like when they remade Dumbo, for example, I
yep,
was so excited to go see it, and the movie, I liked it just for nostalgia factor, but the movie was so different than the cartoon version that
yep.
I remembered. You know what I mean? And I remember showing it to my mom on Disney Plus, and my mom is like, "This movie makes no sense." That's not how I remember Dumbo to be.
Yeah,
So it was just like, and yeah, they had to like change a couple of things because they consider them, controversial and all that. And it's just like, yeah, don't remake them then if you can't tell the same story.
yeah. And like speaking of like the nostalgia point of it all, like a lot of people have an issue with the nostalgia factor, and I'll give you an example. We kind of went this whole show without any wrestling references, and I'm about to break that
No,
cycle because
wrestling
yeah,
is the nostalgia like
yeah.
king and
So
queen.
last
Yeah.
night I went to Monday Night Raw in Brooklyn with my dad. Um, and I brought him because it was the 25th anniversary of D Generation X, which was an iconic group, one of the biggest group, if not the biggest group of all time. Um, he was excited, and he hadn't seen anybody in a long time. Like he doesn't keep up with wrestling like I do. So he sees everybody come out. He sees Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg, and he looks at me and goes, "I feel so old."
Yep.
Like seeing them. He's like, I could have done without seeing them and just kept to the idea of what I remember them as. And I'm like, that
Yeah.
is such a good point because that's a big thing today with nostalgia. Like that's the flaw of nostalgia for a lot of people.
Oh, I will tell you one thing. One of my favorite, no, not one, my favorite TV show of all time. Inspire a lot of things that I ended up doing in my life. My love for shoes, me moving to New York City, it was Sex and the City. I loved that show.
Same with
I
my
loved
sister.
everything about it. I was watching it in college and I was like, I'm going to go live in New York, buy designer shoes, and damn it, I did it. And then I have not even touched whatever it is that came out now because not only is it not right because there's not one of the main characters is not even there, but it's not never gonna be the same show. Sex and the City came out at such a different time where certain
Yeah.
topics could be discussed. Now you can't
Yep.
do that. And I do not want to see these ladies that I remember wanting to be like then where I'm at now. Like they're like in their 50s now. Like I'm like, and
Some of them older.
everybody,
Some of them older.
all of my friends are like, I'm sorry, you're the biggest like Sex and the City fan that there is, and you haven't seen just like that. And I'm like, and I'm not planning on it. I just saw them recording a new season, and I'm like, why? Like, let it rest. Even the second movie, in my opinion, was a mistake, but I still gave it a pass because they ended up celebrating Samantha's 50th, and that's when I was like, okay, that's it. This is a great way to wrap it up. I don't need to know what happened to them. I will imagine it in my brain. And I hate the fact that they have these women at the age, and I'm not saying like be yourself at whatever age, like good girl empowerment, but I don't need to see it because I idolize. Like this show was my entire life, and when they were like, oh, they're like bringing it back, and I'm like, please don't, like,
Yep.
no.
And another show,
That's
they changed
that's
the story. They changed the storyline.
I know, and they killed Mr. Big.
Yep.
Sorry for the spoiler. But
My sister and my
yeah.
mom are obsessed with Sex and the City. My
Oh,
sister did the same
it was
thing.
the best show ever.
My
Yep.
sister last year before, she's like 25, 26. She moved to the city. She wanted to live her Carrie Bradshaw life. And,
Yes, everybody does. Like
it's
the
a dream.
weekend
I
I
get it.
moved to New York, the first place I went to, this is a true story, was Carrie Bradshaw's apartment, where
Wow.
very cranky people live there now, and they even have a shame because all of these girls want to go in there and take pictures
Yeah.
in the Carrie steps. So I'm like, they should have, a freaking fan of the show should have bought the apartment so we can at least get a good picture in there. But that's literally the first place that I went to when I moved to New
That's
York because I
amazing.
was such a, I get it. But I love Sarah Jessica Parker, and she's scary. If I probably saw her walking down the street in New York, because she lives there, like a lot of
Yeah.
people see
And then
her,
when they're
I
filming
would
too, they're
probably
just out in the open.
yeah, I would probably scream out Carrie instead of her actual name. Like that's how she is to me. But seeing her now, or seeing some of the clips that I see from Just Like That, I'm like, no, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
I will not have my favorite show ruined by this. So I refuse to watch it. And I am, again, one of the biggest. We can play Sex and the City trivia, and I will probably get it perfect. But I refuse to watch this.
Yeah, and she was also in Hocus Pocus too, so she's all, I guess,
I know.
about all
I
those
saw.
sequels and remakes and all that stuff. But I don't know. I saw a couple episodes of that show. I never watched Sex and the City. I was never a fan of it. But when the new, what is it? Just Like That? That's the new?
Yeah, it's called Just Like That.
It was all over TikTok. My family was obsessed with it. So like I would sit and watch a few episodes with them because they're like, you have to watch it. It's so good. And I was like, this is like, I remember the idea of what Sex and the City was. And I'm like, this is not
Far from it.
Far from it. It's basically like older women trying to fit in back to where they used to fit in.
Yeah, exactly.
So
like
the
trying to
idea
relive
already
those
is like
days.
makes everybody feel old. Like it's just not.
And Sex and the City was such a groundbreaking show for women. I remember the critiques they used to get, like, this is a show about, part of my language, whores. Like, these women are like doing this and doing that instead of just like empowering single women in New York,
Yeah.
But I remember how groundbreaking it was that there was like these 4 single women talking about their adventures dating in New York, and it's funny because the original show was written from the producers and the writers sitting down with real single women in New York and writing down their stories and picking out their best ones, and that's not what And Just Like That is. It's not at all.
Yeah, no, it's definitely was a different take, and the whole idea of nostalgia, like it sounds good, but like when it affects you, you're like, I feel like you aged 20 years just watching something like that, or even listening. It happens with music too,
I know. Or sometimes you make a reference and like somebody, oh my god, now you feel old.
Yeah, my family like grew up in New Jersey. Like everyone here loves Bon Jovi.
Yeah,
and I saw a clip of him performing recently, and I was like, that's it was like it wasn't even close to what he sounded like, and I was like, dude,
turn that off.
Right off into the sunset and just enjoy it, what you have. Like don't mess with it. There's some people like Bruce Springsteen who still got it, who will never lose it.
Yeah.
But there's some that just need to pack it in. It's time to go.
I'm a big fan of Eminem, and I remember his daughter showing up in my recommended on Instagram, and when I click on her and I see a grown woman, and I'm like, what? I remember her little voice on some of Eminem's songs. Like I have those moments too. Wrestling wise, I can't remember which match it was. It might have been at WrestleMania 33. That it was at some point where Undertaker was like at one point one of my favorite of all time. I think that our list of favorite wrestlers changes throughout because wrestlers never stop and you just keep going, But I remember just loving the Undertaker and wanting to see him, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to see him live. And I remember at one point thinking, I need him to retire. And that's when I started feeling like maybe the nostalgia was just hurting his career. Once I watched his documentary and learning that he just really wanted to go out on that high note, on that match, that the perfect match, I get that. But I remember like wanting to hear the gong and the entrance and all that, and at some point feeling guilty for wanting that, because I was like, no, I need him to go. Nostalgia can really do a number on people, and can get them to that point too, where they just like, I don't know. You hear a lot of stories with wrestling, and I don't want to make this about wrestling, but how they just keep looking for the pop and that the high that being around the crowd brings them. So a lot of times it's also them not wanting to go away. Same with, I would imagine, singers and actors and all that. Like,
Yeah, it's a lot, and I think that at a certain point, like if I ever got to a point like that, I would want someone close to me to be like, hey, it's time.
Hanging up. Yeah.
Because you'll never be able, like, it's very rare that you'll be able to make that decision for yourself, for you to be like, all right, it's time. But regardless of what it is, I think that nostalgia definitely plays a role. But before we close out the show, I did want to ask, because we always talk about shows and movies and stuff like that. Any new shows that you're watching? Anything that has triggered you in any way this week? Any like show or movie or something?
Listen, I'm gonna stay on brand and stick with my serial killer stuff. And if you watch Dahmer on Netflix, they just came out with Confessions of Dahmers, which is the tapes, the actual
Is that on
confessions from
Peacock?
Netflix. Is the actual
I didn't see
confessions
it.
and interviews.
Oh, I
Yeah,
gotta watch it.
it's him. It's Dahmer in his own words, and you get a couple. It's more documentary style. But if you really want to see what was true, what was not true in the show, and if you really want to hear from him, which would also creep you out with how much Evan Peters really stuck to it, because the voice, he mastered that voice. But that's what I had time for watching this week, and we had a lot of wrestling, so I
man.
kind of took Sunday and didn't watch anything. And it's the baseball playoffs, so right now all of my focus are on the Yankees. Let's go Yankees.
New York.
But yeah, if you guys enjoy the drama version of it, I would suggest go and watch the real story so you can see what a piece of crap this guy really was, and people stop idolizing this, because I seen a lot of TikToks of girl going, "Oh my god, I feel so bad for Dahmer," and I'm like, you need to go away. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Remind me to send you the video that I saw people talking about that on YouTube.
Oh man, that's. I didn't know they came out with that. I definitely.
Oh, you need to watch it. You need to watch it.
Man.
And there's one called The Tapes of Joe Gacy too. I think I talked about that one last week. It's very, very good as well. So if you're into that, I don't know, serial killer stuff that I like I'm a dark person.
Peacock did something very similar, like the tapes of Jeffrey Dahmer or something like that. And I think it's like a 2-part documentary or something like that. But my guilty pleasure of a show that I enjoy, I was never a fan of America's Got Talent or like American Idol or anything like any of those
the talent shows. Yeah.
I am obsessed with The Voice. I can't even tell you. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I like the artists that they have on the panel, like of judges.
Right.
This season. It just started a few weeks ago. I think we're like into the 3rd or 4th week now. It's on Mondays and Tuesdays, and they have Blake Shelton, John Legend, Gwen Stefani, and now they have Camila Cabello on there.
I didn't know she had joined the cast. I haven't watched The Voice in a while.
Last season they had the same people, but Ariana Grande was there instead of Camila, and then Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, there's always like a rotate one.
They
like
rotate.
Every season,
Adam Levine's
I feel like I know that.
Yeah,
John Legend.
Anymore, but
I mean,
Adam Levine. So it's just cool to see now, because Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton are married. So you see like the dynamic of them play, like they go at it with each other, and then Camila trying to like make a statement for herself. And I don't know what it is. It's very like I pop when I hear like I'm expecting something, and then it's a completely different like version of a song I like. And I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. Like, and then to see them like debate of like who's gonna be their coach and all that stuff. I was never a fan of those shows. I don't know why this is intriguing me now, but The Voice season 1,700,500 at this point.
I forgot to mention Survivor, but everybody knows I watch Survivor. We're in the new season. We're going on to episode 4, and I think The Challenge. I love The Challenge, MTV The Challenge, and they have a new season debuting this week, so that would also be a guilty pleasure. But after the playoffs, right now, let's go Yankees.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Did you know that Jersey Shore is still on?
Yeah.
Like still
I was never a fan. I was never a fan. I wasn't a fan of the original run, and I'm not a fan of what they're doing now, which is just like, what is it, like Jersey Shore Vacation, where they just go to different places, because they're not even allowed to film where they used to.
No. I gave it a shot, and it just got to a point where I'm like, these are grown ass men and women who are like double my age.
Yeah.
Y'all need to chill out.
Yeah, and it's
Snoopy's
like
falling over tables, and they're fighting over wine and throwing shit at each other.
That's what I'm saying. And like a lot of them have kids. The kids are never even mentioned. And I get you might want privacy, but it's like, where do they leave their kids the entire time that they're filming this? Like I wonder all of that, because it's like you're not like you can't. I don't know. I guess they listen, whatever works for them, right? Nostalgia. We were just talking about it, but I watched it for like a season or 2, and then I was like, you guys are older than me at this point, and I don't even be acting like that.
I have a question for her, and I think this is a good spot to end with.
Yeah.
I always think about it, because you just mentioned, what do they do with their kids? the craziness of me, I always think like, what do celebrities do with their animals when they're always traveling? Like, I know some of the Kardashians have like 10 dogs. What do they
Yeah.
do when they're traveling and all that? I would not be able to leave my animals as much as they
I
do.
know. A lot of times people have told me because of you hear how Roman is. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, you should get like a second one. Maybe it'll help with his attention or like his
Yeah,
clinginess." But the reason why that what I adore about Roman and his size is like I try to take him anywhere with me. The only
got it.
places that Roman doesn't go with me is if I'm going on a wrestling trip, and that's because I'm going out to do interviews and doing
Of
media.
course.
So I'm gone all day, and I'm also not leaving him in a hotel room by himself.
Yeah.
So if it's like a work trip, then I don't take him with me. But everywhere that I travel, vacations or whatever, I can take him because he's just so little. So that's why I have a hard time saying I'm gonna get another dog. However, I do know like people like Jeffree Star, for example. I think he has like 8 Pomeranians right now, and he has like a whole wing of his house for the dogs, and he has like an
Wow.
actual in-house person that lives there that
Wow.
takes care of the dogs.
That's
So,
crazy.
I get that, and I think that's amazing that people treat their animals that way. But at the same time, it's like there's an attachment that I don't know that I could be away from them for that long. Like
Yeah.
I think the max that I can do without Roman is 4 days, and I'm already like, you hear me. You can ask my friends at the wrestling event saying I miss my dog like
Yeah.
10 times in like a day.
I do it too.
Like I get yeah, like I get you might have money to afford like a hotel or somebody to come take care of them, but it's like, do you not miss them?
I think next week's episode we should do we should kind of talk about that too. Like, what do these celebrities do with their animals? See if you can find anything like that's crazy about
I'm gonna Google it.
like a Jeffree Star thing. Like, I'll look too, see if we can find like a crazy thing of like what celebrities do with their animals. And if you're listening right
When
now, do the
they
same. Let us know.
when Jeffree Star bought like this castle looking home in LA, like in California, and it's such an exclusive neighborhood that everybody can name their house. He named
Wow,
his Pomeranian Palace. Like that's how much this guy loves his dog. Like it was
that's funny.
hilarious. And if you, I kind of like I go back and forth with Jeffree Star because it's
Yeah,
controversial, but his makeup is very good. We were talking about that
yeah,
earlier,
yeah.
so I thought I'd plug that in. But yeah, he does love his dogs. Like he had an entire wing of the house for them. He had like 3 dog cares for it, like care for him and for them. And I'm like, oh my god, like I mean, good for him. I still will take him everywhere though.
He was on Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast, and I watched
Yes.
it, and I think he spoke about it too. Like,
Yeah.
this is insane. This guy is just
Yeah, he started as a
insane.
MySpace like singer. He went bankrupt, then he started the makeup world, and he is
Yep,
like loaded from his makeup stuff.
crazy.
Now he has a yak farm.
Yes,
I didn't even know what a yak. I
added
didn't
that,
even know what a yak was.
and he makes money off that. I don't know what he does. Like, he sells the meat or the fur. I don't know what he
Yeah,
does, but
he sells
it's
everything.
really
Like
insane.
I didn't even know what this animal was. I didn't realize how much money they made. But listen, and
Completely insane.
he's an entrepreneur. Shout out to him.
Yeah, I think he's living now in like Utah or something like that.
No, Wyoming.
Wyoming. You're right,
The
Wyoming.
same place that Kanye has a property as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have like a tax break like they do here in Puerto Rico. That's why
That's
Logan
exactly what
Paul
it
lives
is.
here because he don't gotta pay taxes.
That's exactly what it is. It's something with the taxes.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I think next week definitely something cool we can discuss. What do celebrities do? If there are any funky stories out there about that? But Issa, it's been a pleasure talking again today. Always fun time. This hour that we
yeah.
get every Tuesday, 3 p.m. talking all craziness in the
Pop
world of
culture.
celebrity.
We
Yep.
we always bring it back to wrestling, but it's good to just talk about non-wrestling things
Yeah.
for a little while.
Listen, there are things from wrestling that are pop culture, so
Yes,
it's we can definitely add it in when we need to.
yes.
Yeah. So for everybody listening or watching right now, appreciate you always. I see we got some comments in the chat. Issa's got some fans I could see. So yeah, Issa, it's been a pleasure and glad to do this again another week. And we'll see everybody back next week.
Tuesday. Bye.
See ya.